Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to virtual day trip to wine country. I am virtually on the North Fork of Long Island, perched above a beautiful vineyard that belongs to our guest today, which is RGNY Wine. We're looking forward to having a great chat about the wines that they make there, the culture of the winery, and some history and background. So, by the way, when we're in the session this afternoon, if you have any questions, we'll go about 20-25 minutes for the tour and the virtual tasting. Any questions, put them in the chat if you would, and we'll answer them at the end of the session. It's our pleasure to have RGNY Wine with us today. A privilege. It's a great place, and they make great wine. You're going to learn lots about it, which is cool. And in 2018, the winery was purchased by the Rivero González family from Mexico. And they launched RGNY in 2018, which stands for Rivero González, New York, because the winery and the process that they follow there is inspired by their winery that already exists, a wonderful winery in the northern part of Mexico called Rivero González. Their calling card, and you're going to hear a lot more about this from our guest today, is modern tradition. It's a contemporary winemaking approach with roots in traditional winemaking. And you can learn all about RGNY, lots of great information, and also find the wines at the website rgnywine.com. That's rgnywine.com. Welcome, Lilia. Good afternoon.
Hi, Sam. Thank you very much for having me today.
Well, it's a pleasure. And you and I have known each other for a couple of years, and it's truly been a pleasure to get to know you and the winemaking process at RGNY. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about RGNY, the background and the philosophy that you and the entire team follow today in terms of winemaking.
Okay. Well, I can tell you a little bit of the history of this place. You know, you said it used to be Martha Clara Vineyards. Before a potato farm, and then a vineyard, and then they used to do a lot of different wines there. And then when the Familia Rivero González came, they are very interested on good quality wine in Mexico, and that's what they want to do here. Really stay with these traditional winemaking processes, but also be contemporary and be updated with what the market wants. No, so what we did once we arrived 2 years ago in 2018, we did a very deep research on which are the best grape varieties grown in the area, and which are the best wines basically done in the area, so we can have an idea of what we can do best, and not only produce too many wines, but produce what we can do best. So this is what we're trying to do now.
That's great. And tell us a little bit about your background, because I know a little bit about it, but it's very interesting, and you've got quite a pedigree in terms of being a winemaker and your training. Where did you train, and what's your background in winemaking?
Okay, well, I started in the wine industry like 11 or 12 years ago, just interested on wine, and wanted to get deeper and deeper on learning about it just for fun. And then I found a job in the Mexican Wine Council, which made me coordinate and promote all the activities to promote Mexican wines internationally and nationally. So I started in the commercial side of the business. And then I just, by visiting wineries and being in contact with a lot of people related with the industry, I just got more interested and started a winemaking certificate in the UC Davis. I did a certificate also in Mexico, in a school in Mexico. And then I met Maria Rivero González at the Mexican Wine Council there, and got the opportunity to start working with them also in the commercial area, and then started in the production. And then supported by them, I had the opportunity to go to France, to Bordeaux, and do a master's degree in master in science in viticulture and enology. So I stayed there for 2.5 years, and just really immersed myself in the wine industry there, which I was really amazed. Had the opportunity to work with great chateaus like Brancantenac, and some very good chateaus in the Saint-Emilion area of Bordeaux, with a group of consultants there. So I really learned very much in France, and the culture was just amazing. And then I had the opportunity to come back with them here and as a head winemaker.
Right, because one of the things that I noticed immediately when I started trying the wines that you began producing and putting out last year, 2019, was they seemed, first of all, they were great, but they were very much French inspired.
Yeah.
And I think that the approach, that approach and what you learned in your experience in France obviously had a major impact on how you conduct the process today. So in that vein, along those lines, how would you describe your winemaking style? Because just saying French inspired obviously is a very general statement, and there's lots of different wines and different methods and approaches, philosophies in places like France, where there's so many wine regions and wineries. How would you describe your winemaking style in particular?
If I can use 3 words, I would say just like minimal intervention. That's my philosophy. I like to really do wines with fruit forward, easy to drink wines, very just like respect what we can get from the vineyard. I like to focus on getting really good quality fruit in order to work less or to respect the fruit in the winery, right? Not messing with it too much. Right.
Well, now that makes sense. And so talk a little bit about the climate and the local region. What is it that is unique and interesting, and how the nature, you talk about, minimal intervention. What's the fruit all about, and what's that culture of the eastern end of Long Island in terms of the climate and the way that the grapes grow, and maybe talk a little bit about the grape varieties, the ones that you actually focus on in your process.
Okay, so about the weather, I really it's a very, very challenging region. I would say I was not expecting at all what we had in 2018, and then which was really like rainy showers all the time during ripening and harvesting time. So I was just like almost crying because of the situation. And then we ended up with very good results on the wines. But then last year, 2019, was great. Sun all the time, little rain, which was just the perfect amount of rain during the season. And so I'm excited for this coming vintage also, to see what the weather brings us, no? And so that's the first thing. So then and then about the grape varieties, that's why it was very important, not only this region, but in general. I think it's very important to do some research before starting just producing too many wines and just the thing I like. I think it's important to know what can we do best, as I said. And since we actually have already 14 different white varieties, I needed to choose what we can do best. And so we're producing 11 wines now. We're doing a Sauvignon Blanc, a Chardonnay, Riesling, white Merlot, and Viognier and whites. And then we're doing a Rosé, which is only a blend. And we're doing three reds, Bordeaux blend, just because I like the Bordeaux blend. And then I choose monovarietals that choose Cab Franc and Pinot Noir, as I'm a Pinot Noir lover. And I really believe that we can do very good Pinot Noir wines in the area. Of course, it depends on the year. And I can say 2018 was good, but 2019 was just beautiful.
Pinot Noir, the grape, is very
difficult to
grow. It's great in California, but difficult to grow on the East Coast.
Yes, yeah, and especially on rainy years, as 2018 was very hard. We did like a we sorted the grapes 3 times. One in the vineyard, we harvested everything by hand. We sorted. It took us like twice of the time to pick those grapes because of the year. It was very humid, so some bunches started to get damaged. So we had to sort it very well and then bring it to the winery and sort it again and then work with the best quality fruit. And we ended up with a good Pinot Noir that we are selling in our tasting right now. And but 2019 was just straightforward, you know, we didn't need to do much, and it was a beautiful year for Pinot Noir. So I'm willing to keep doing it and just compare vintages. I'm excited.
Anyway, so you were saying about Pinot Noir in 2018, you went through the process and you had to filter through the harvest carefully in order to make it successful.
Yes.
And how was that in 2019 when you had such a sunny and beautiful year?
Yeah, so 2019 was pretty straightforward. It was just a beautiful year. And so what I was saying is that having these 2 examples, I've been here just for 2 years, and the first year was, as I said, almost crying with the weather, and the harvesting time was really hard for me to choose when to harvest, not by the analysis or by flavors, but just to try to get the fruit ripened to the optimal and not have it damaged. So 2019 was just a beautiful year, and it makes me think that I really want to keep trying and with Pinot Noir especially, and just compare vintages, you know, like having from here to in 5 years compare this, do a vertical tasting and compare these Pinot Noirs from different years, right?
That'll be amazing. I would love to attend that tasting. So tell me, the Pinot Noir from 2018, is it still in barrels now? Is it aging?
No, it's already in bottle. We launched it in January this year.
You did? Okay, cool, yeah. Awesome. I'll have to try that one. And where do you get the grapes? Is RGNY 100% an estate winery?
It is.
It is.
So
all the wines are made from the grapes grown right there.
Yes. Yeah, we do have, as I said, 14 different grape varieties, 87 acres in production now. We just planted last year 6 acres more of Cab Sav and Pinot Noir. So in actual production, we have 87 acres. We sell some of our fruit, and we produce the other. For instance, in 18, we sell half of the fruit. So we could produce like 20,000 cases if we want to, but we are on half of it.
Is that right? Okay, great. And so take us on a little tour. I want to show everybody a little bit about the winery. So this, for example, is part of the production facility where you make the wine.
Yeah.
The tanks.
Yeah. So that's Premium Wine Group. It's the production facility where we do our wine. It's like 10 minutes far from us, from the tasting room and the vineyard. And so we do like 99% of our wine there in Premium Wine Group. And they give us all the service for winemaking under my direction. And then the rest of the wine, well, this small percentage I do it. We started with a really small winery in the vineyard, in the property, as it was, I think, fun also to see. It was good for me to produce something there, at least a little bit, and also have people visiting, like our small facility. That's where I did the Pinot Noir and the Cafra in 2018. And well, the idea is that at some point we can have our own winery in the property.
That's great. That's great. And we'll take everybody. We'll give them a look at the tasting room.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful area that overlooks the vineyards, and then of course when we're not on quarantine, this is what it looks like inside the main area where people are tasting wine. And of course out front of the tasting room, you're right there on the Sound Avenue, which is a main thoroughfare through the North Fork. Well, tell you what, let's taste some wines.
Perfect.
What wines are we tasting today, Lilia?
So I have a Chardonnay.
Okay.
Chardonnay first, and then I have a Merlot White.
Okay.
And then I have the Cielo Tinto.
Tinto. Excellent. All right, so we'll start with the Chardonnay. For everybody watching, it's on the screen off to the side of my picture there, and Lilia will tell you all about it. I believe it's 100% stainless steel fermented. Is that right?
That's right. So, so how I did this wine was we harvested the grape by the end of September in 2018. I looked for keeping its freshness and acidity. So we harvested very early in the morning, brought it to Premium Wine Group, and then it went directly to stainless steel. We also did actually 20% of this wine was made with malolactic fermentation in stainless steel too, because I was just looking for having very like I personally like more like fresh and citrusy Chardonnays more than oaky Chardonnays. Right. So I wanted to, and I tasted in the region very good stainless steel Chardonnays, and so I was looking for this character in this one, respecting the fruit, but just giving with this 20% like this like smoother and a smoother taste and elegance. So we ended up with and one important thing, I just choose like out of that 20%, I did 2% in a puncheon, in a barrel, just to give this salt and pepper like to the wine. Nice. So it was kind of a good experiment. And so we ended up with a very pale yellow Chardonnay here with a little bit of like golden rims. And in aromas, the aromas, it's like a medium intensity wine. It's very like, it starts very citrusy and very like green apple, or how do you call those apples? Smith?
Granny Smith?
Granny Smith apples, yes. And it has a little bit of this buttery aroma that comes from that malolactic fermentation that I made, no? And then as I said, it's very citrusy. It's like chewable, very starts very citrusy. It's exotic, and then It goes, the aftertaste stays for a while, and it's very elegant in the mouth. So for me, it's like a very straightforward Chardonnay for like picnic time in the vineyards. No.
Excellent. And so right now we're all on quarantine. What's the perfect food to pair with that Chardonnay right now?
I would say I would go to the North Fork style food, you know, like a lobster roll, for example, or some raw food like sushi, oysters would go perfectly with this one.
Excellent. So there's a bunch of places that have those dishes that are available curbside pickup. So
yes,
those are great choices. It sounds like a lobster roll would go perfectly, especially with that citrus, and the buttery flavor is perfect. So
yes.
all right, excellent. Should we move along to the white Merlot, which, by the way, for everyone watching, is one of my personal favorites. I tasted this wine when it came out last year,
Okay.
and like a lot of people who tried it, I was absolutely blown away. The white Merlot is very cool, and obviously people are familiar with red Merlot. So first off, tell everybody what is a white Merlot, and then tell them about the tasting notes and the origins of this wine.
Okay, so the idea of making a white from red came especially because in Mexico we actually have Cabernet Sauvignon white.
Ah.
So we wanted to also link both wineries, and why not linking it with a wine also. And so we said, white Merlot, let's try. And we have never tried a white Merlot, so it was really just a trial. And I'm excited with the results. We basically just brought the fruit and the same weight of the fruit together, pressed. And so the first juice that came out, that's the one we sent to stainless steel and just fermented at 55 Fahrenheit, and just get this freshness of a red grape turned into a white. And all the process was made as a white, actually.
Well, if for people watching who have not tried this white Merlot, it will blow your socks off. It's amazing. And so tell us a little bit about the tasting notes and about a particular food that this would go well with pairing.
Okay. So as you see, the color is quite it's pale yellow, but it has like grayish notes because, of course, of the grape, and it's very like medium intensity aromas. This wine actually, I would suggest to oxygenate maybe like a half an hour or an hour, just to bring out all those aromas. It's very nice. And it's starts very citrusy, but it's also like very exotic, like peaches and apricot. It's a little like creamy notes, I would say. It's complex. It's a very, very complex aroma.
Is this now a favorite, when the tasting room was open until recently, was it a favorite in the tasting room?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. No,
I think it's interesting just because it's something new, like something, first you buy it because you want to try what it is. And then I think it's kind of interesting. It's just not a white because it's not like fresh and straightforward, it's more complex. So it goes very well with food. I would say paired with like a delicate cheese board, not something very strong, but just for like before dinner.
Yep.
I like to pair with moments too, not only food, like before dinner with the cheese board and very delicate cheeses, and then maybe with good like roasted chicken, I would say. Nothing more complicated.
Right, because it has so much flavor itself that it's its own flavor experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an exceptional wine. So congratulations on that one.
Thank you.
So now, should we go to your roots in Bordeaux, France, and
Yes.
talk about the Bordeaux blend, which is the Tinto. I have it up on the screen here.
Okay.
This was, I think, the first red wine that you came out with under the RGNY brand. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So yeah, the first red wine, and so as you said, this is a blend of 50% Merlot, 30% Cab Sauv, and then 10 Cab Sauv, 10 Cab Franc, and 10 Petit Verdot. I wanted to ferment the 4 grapes separately just to see the potential of each grape before blending.
Yep.
And then so I aged them separately until like 1 month before bottling. So it was blended in the tank 1 month before bottling, but I like to age it separately.
Is that unusual with a blend? Will a winemaker often put all of the juice from the 4 or 5 different varietals into one tank from the beginning and then work it that way? Or is it usually that you would ferment separately and then combine for a blend?
Well, I think it's just the winemaker decides, you know, but because also logistically the best is just to send everything together and age it together, or some people likes it just because blended and fermenting together brings different aromas, you know. Yeah. I personally like even to choose in the vineyard like the best clones and the best like separate by clones and separate by tanks and separate by, so because you get to know each clone or each grape variety on its own, and then decide what percentage send to the blend, and that's more exciting. I think more work definitely, but more exciting for me.
Yep, that's great. Well, it's wonderful that the Cielo Tinto is a great one, and I think it was a great beginning to the red wine tradition at RGNY. So yeah, and of course Bordeaux.
Yes.
That's in your blood now. So now, how do we buy these wines, Lilia, especially now while everyone is on shutdown? How do we buy these wines?
So we have our e-commerce. You can buy them online, and we do to-go purchases. Also, you can go to the store, choose yourself, or curbside. And we are also doing a lot of fun things like quarantine kits. So you can buy your kit, and with 2 wines, you can choose which wines you want, and then we send you like 2 glasses and like a coloring book. Also, that's another quarantine kit.
That's great.
Blending session kit also. So online, rgnywine.com.
That's great. rgnywine.com. Well, let's check and see if we have any questions from the audience while we're here. I think that when things get back closer to normal, it's important to get out to the winery. It's absolutely beautiful. You're on roughly almost 200 acres. Is that right?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, 200 acres.
That is great.
205 acres.
Let's see here. We have, I believe we have a question from Kim. Kim, would you enter your question in the chat if you would, if you indeed intended to raise your hand. So one of the things that I think is great is actually getting out to the winery. And even while we're on quarantine, people can get out there and do curbside pickup, and the countryside is amazing. If you have not been to the North Fork, or if you haven't been recently, it's such a tremendous place, an agricultural land of riches. There's so much happening in terms of growing and agriculture. It's not just vineyards, but other things as well. And let's see here. We have a couple of, where
Right.
does the name, Elizabeth asks the question, where does the name Cielo come from? This is a question that I have too, Lilia, because
Okay.
I used to live in Latin America, and so I speak Spanish,
Mhm.
but Cielo, when you speak of Cielo, normally it's Cielo, but in
Mhm.
this case it's with an S.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the origin of the name.
So we actually say that cielo it's more than a normal sky, you know, because cielo means sky, but then with an S, which it's just more. It's just cielo means heaven, you know. So it comes from there. It's just a play with the word, with the
So
letters.
a wine named Heaven. That's
Yeah,
great. Well,
exactly.
it's
And the stairs, actually, the label has this stairs, so it says stairs to heaven. You know?
that's great. That's amazing. Um, okay, well, listen. I think it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for visiting with us today. Virtual day trip to wine country. Soon we'll be back to actual day trip to wine country, but I think these virtual sessions are a lot of fun. By the way, for everybody watching, we do post the edited versions of these videos and broadcasts on our website and on our social media. You can watch them on demand, and you can never get enough of Lilia Perez talking about making wine and working with nature and the amazing region that we have here on the eastern end of Long Island. So Lilia, thank you so much.
Perfect.
Let's
Thank
do
you,
this.
Sam. Yeah?
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Let's do this again, and let's do maybe do a blending session one, or maybe
Yes,
even do one where we pair a couple of wines specifically with a meal, and maybe
sure.
we'll have a chef join you.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Follow us on the Instagram also. We're doing very fun activities during this period
At RGNY, right?
at RGNY Wine. Yes.
At RGNY Wine.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lilia. Stay
Thank you so
safe,
much, Sam.
and
Eh?
we hope to see you again very soon. And
Yeah.
we will be looking forward to more great wine from RGNY.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you
Thanks,
all.
everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.